Learn English, speak confidently with Inkwell Stories. Hello, everyone. I'm Emma, and today we have something very exciting for you. Are you ready to dive into the world of English culture? Because, Alex, sometimes English is not just about words. It's about puzzles, jokes, and traditions. And today we are going to explore them all.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Alex. Emma is right. English is full of surprises. You can study grammar and vocabulary every day, but understanding culture is like solving a fun puzzle, and we will help you solve it today.
Exactly. And by the end of this podcast, you will understand why some English expressions seem strange, why jokes sometimes don't make sense at first, and how culture shapes the way people speak. So stay with us. It's going to be fun and very useful.
And remember, we have prepared a special vocabulary PDF for you, so you can check all the words and practice them after listening.
Let's start with something simple, Alex. Have you ever noticed that English is full of strange expressions that make no sense at first? For example, when English people say, "It's raining cats and dogs," it can confuse a lot of learners. Can you explain why they say that?
Oh, yes, Emma. This expression is always very funny for people learning English. It doesn't mean that animals are falling from the sky. Actually, it means that it is raining very heavily. The phrase is very old, and no one really knows exactly where it came from, but it has been used in English for hundreds of years.
Exactly. And think about a person who hears this for the first time. They might look outside and think, wait, is a cat falling from my roof? It's very funny. But understanding this little cultural puzzle helps people feel more confident when they speak English.
Yes, Emma, and expressions like this show us how culture and language are connected. Some phrases make sense only if you know the history or the way people think in a culture. That is why learning culture is as important as learning vocabulary.
Another very interesting expression is break a leg. This is very confusing for beginners because it sounds dangerous. Why would anyone tell someone to break their leg?
Yes, it sounds strange, but it is actually a way to wish good luck, especially before a performance. Actors and singers use it a lot. The idea is that if you tell someone good luck directly, it could be unlucky. So people say break a leg instead. It's a cultural tradition in the theater.
That's amazing. And when learners understand these traditions, English becomes much easier. They don't need to translate word by word. They can understand meaning directly. For example, if someone says, "I'm feeling under the weather," they are not standing under clouds. It simply means they are sick or not feeling well.
Yes, and this is very important. In daily life, you hear a lot of expressions like this. If you know them, you can understand movies, TV shows, and conversations. It also makes your speaking and listening skills much better.
Let's look at another example. When someone says piece of cake, it doesn't mean they are talking about dessert. It means something is very easy. This is a very common expression in English.
Absolutely. And learners often ask, why a piece of cake? Why not something else? The truth is, language is like a puzzle. Some things are chosen because they sound nice or because people like them. Over time, everyone understands the same meaning.
And sometimes these puzzles can be tricky in conversation. For example, imagine you are talking to an English person and they say, "I'm over the moon." You might look at the sky and wonder what they are doing on the moon. But in reality, it means they are very happy.
That's true. And the funny thing is, many of these expressions have similar ideas. For happiness, sadness, or surprise, English often uses visual images or small stories. This is why it can feel confusing, but also very creative.
Another interesting expression is spill the beans. People sometimes use it in a conversation, and it doesn't mean food at all. It means someone is telling a secret. And beginners often think, why beans? What do beans have to do with secrets? But this is just part of culture.
Yes, and knowing these expressions helps you feel like a native speaker. You don't need to translate literally, you understand the meaning directly. It makes your English much more natural.
And let's not forget phrasal verbs. These are very common in English, and they can confuse learners because they have many meanings. For example, give up means to stop trying, look after means to take care of, and run into means to meet someone by chance.
Exactly. And cultural knowledge can help with phrasal verbs too. If someone says, I ran into an old friend yesterday, you understand it naturally. Without knowing culture, you might imagine someone literally running into a friend.
So, Alex, what is your advice for learners when they meet these cultural puzzles?
I think the best way is to pay attention to context. Listen to movies, songs, and conversations. Ask questions when you don't understand. And always enjoy the process. Learning English is not only about grammar and words, it's about stories, images, and culture.
I agree. And remember, it's okay to make mistakes. Even native speakers sometimes misunderstand expressions. The important thing is to learn step by step and enjoy discovering the puzzles of English culture.
And one more tip. Write down expressions that seem strange to you. Try to use them in sentences. This helps you remember them and understand the culture better.
Exactly. And reading English books or articles also helps. You see expressions in context, and you can understand why people say them. It's like solving a fun puzzle every day.
And don't forget to talk to English speakers if you can. Ask them what expressions mean. They usually love explaining, and you learn faster when you hear explanations from real people.
So today we learned about many cultural puzzles. It's raining cats and dogs, break a leg, under the weather, piece of cake, over the moon, and spill the beans.
Yes, and all of them show us that English is not just words. It's culture, history, creativity, and humor. Understanding these makes your English stronger and more natural.
That's right. And in the next part, we will talk about English humor and jokes. That is also a very fun and important part of cultural learning.
I'm excited! Humor is sometimes difficult, but it's also very interesting. You will see how culture helps us understand jokes and puns in English.
Don't go anywhere. We will continue with fun cultural puzzles in the next part. Alex, now we move to a very fun topic, humor in English. Humor is everywhere in the language, but sometimes it can be tricky for learners. Do you agree?
Absolutely, Emma. Many beginners think jokes are just for entertainment, but in English, jokes show culture, creativity, and wordplay. Understanding humor is like solving a puzzle. If you know the culture, jokes are easier to understand.
Exactly. For example, puns are very common in English. A pun is a joke that plays with words. For instance, time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like a banana. It sounds strange at first, but it is funny because flies has two different meanings.
Yes, and puns are everywhere, in books, advertisements, and even in daily conversations. They are a way to play with words, and learners often love them when they understand the meaning.
Another common form of humor is sarcasm. English people, especially British speakers, often use sarcasm. It is saying something but meaning the opposite. For example, if it is raining heavily, someone might say, "Oh, what a lovely weather today."
Yes, beginners often get confused by sarcasm. They think the speaker is serious and polite, but actually it's a joke. Understanding sarcasm is important because it appears in daily conversation, TV shows, and movies.
And then we have exaggeration. English jokes often exaggerate a situation to make it funny. For example, someone might say, I have a million things to do today, even if they only have a few tasks. This makes the sentence playful and humorous.
That's right. Exaggeration is a cultural habit in English. People often exaggerate to show feelings or to entertain. Learners who understand this can follow conversations more easily and even make jokes themselves.
Let's not forget idioms in humor. Idioms often have funny meanings when translated literally. For example, kick the bucket means to die. If a learner translates it word by word, it sounds very strange. But knowing the idiom makes you understand humor in stories, movies, and songs.
Another fun example is hold your horses. It means wait a moment or be patient, but it sounds very funny literally. Expressions like this show how imagination is important in English. They create images in your mind, and that is why learners often remember them.
Yes, and watching English TV shows or listening to podcasts is one of the best ways to learn humor. You can hear how people joke, how they use sarcasm, exaggeration, or puns. This helps you understand expressions naturally.
And it's also important to try joking yourself. Don't worry if your jokes are not perfect. Even native speakers sometimes fail with humor. The more you practice, the better you understand and enjoy English culture.
Another thing is wordplay in advertisements and headlines. For example, a shop might say, "We donut forget you," when selling donuts. It is a pun on "do not forget." These jokes are simple, but they teach learners to recognize playful English.
Yes, this is a good example. And newspapers, online articles, and social media posts are full of such playful language. Learners can use these examples to practice reading and understanding humor.
And don't forget about cultural jokes that need background knowledge. For instance, British humor often includes references to history, famous people, or daily life traditions. Without this knowledge, a joke can be confusing.
That's why learning culture and humor together is so important. Understanding jokes is not only fun, but it also helps you understand English speakers better, make friends, and feel confident in conversations.
Also, humor helps memory. If you laugh while learning, you remember words and expressions better. This is why teachers often use jokes and funny stories in the classroom.
Yes, and you don't need to be perfect. Just enjoy the language. Even a small pun, a simple idiom, or a funny expression makes learning English more enjoyable.
So today, we talked about puns, sarcasm, exaggeration, idioms, and wordplay in English humor. Each of these shows how language and culture are connected.
And the best advice for learners is to listen, read, watch, and practice. Try to notice funny expressions, ask about meanings, and use them yourself. Humor is not only entertaining, but very useful for learning English.
In the next part, we will explore English traditions and everyday culture, which will help you speak naturally and understand conversations better.
That's right. Traditions are also full of interesting expressions, habits, and little cultural puzzles. You will see how culture affects daily life and language.
Don't go anywhere. Next, we will continue with part 3, and it will be full of useful cultural knowledge for learners like you.
Emma, now it's time to talk about traditions and everyday culture. Culture is everywhere, not only in jokes or expressions. It shapes the way people speak, think, and behave.
Absolutely, Alex. Understanding culture helps learners speak English naturally. For example, if you know about British tea traditions, you can understand expressions like, "let's have a cup of tea," or "tea time is at 4 o'clock." It's more than just drinking tea, it's part of everyday life.
Yes, and tea time is a very social tradition. People meet friends, chat, and enjoy small snacks. If learners understand this, they can join conversations easily and even invite someone politely for tea.
Exactly. And in the United States, traditions like Thanksgiving are very important. Families come together, eat turkey, watch parades, and share stories. If someone says, "I'm preparing for Thanksgiving," you immediately understand the context.
And knowing this tradition helps learners understand movies, TV shows, and conversations. For example, many English movies include Thanksgiving scenes. If learners don't know the tradition, some jokes or emotions in the movie might not make sense.
Another example is Christmas traditions. People decorate trees, exchange gifts, and sing carols. Some phrases like deck the halls or secret Santa come from cultural traditions. If you know the background, learning these expressions is easier and more enjoyable.
And let's not forget Halloween. People dress in costumes, go trick-or-treating, and have parties. It's a fun tradition, and learners can enjoy participating while practicing English. Expressions like trick or treat become clear when you know the tradition.
Yes, and cultural knowledge also helps with idioms related to traditions. For example, Christmas came early means something good happened sooner than expected. Without cultural knowledge, this expression might confuse learners.
Another interesting point is daily habits. English-speaking people often use polite expressions and small talk. For example, when you meet someone, it is common to say, "How are you?" or "Did you have a good weekend?" Understanding these habits is part of culture.
That's right. And small talk is not only polite, it's a way to connect with people. Learners who understand small talk can make friends and communicate more naturally. For example, asking about the weather, hobbies, or food is very common.
And habits like queuing or waiting in line are also part of culture. In the UK, standing in line and waiting patiently is very important. Learners who respect this habit will feel more comfortable in social situations.
And food is another cultural element. In England, sandwiches, pies, and fish and chips are very common. In the US, burgers, fries, and pancakes are everyday foods. Knowing about food culture helps learners understand conversations and even menus when traveling.
Yes, and sports are also part of culture. In the UK, football, soccer, is very popular. In the US, basketball, baseball, and American football are common. Expressions like "he scored a goal" or "touchdown" appear often, and understanding culture helps learners follow these expressions.
Another fun tradition is celebrating birthdays. In English-speaking countries, people often have parties, cakes, and gifts. They sing happy birthday and say kind words. Expressions like make a wish or blow out the candles come from these traditions.
And knowing traditions also helps learners understand humor. Many jokes are based on holidays, food, or daily habits. For example, Christmas or Halloween jokes are everywhere in movies, shows, and online content.
Exactly. And learners can also share their own culture in English. Talking about your country's traditions and comparing them with English traditions is a great way to practice speaking and make friends.
Yes, cultural exchange is very useful. You learn about others, practice English, and have fun at the same time. This makes learning English more interesting than only memorizing words or grammar.
Another tip is to watch English YouTube channels or podcasts about culture. You learn expressions, traditions, jokes, and habits naturally. Listening to real people talking about everyday life is very helpful.
And don't forget to take notes. Write down expressions, new words, or habits you find interesting. This helps you remember them and use them in your conversations.
So today we talked about tea time, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Halloween, small talk, food, sports, birthdays, and more. All these cultural examples help learners speak naturally and understand English people better.
Yes, culture is everywhere. When you know traditions and habits, learning English becomes easier, more fun, and more useful in real life. You also feel more confident when you travel or meet native speakers.
That's right. And remember, learning culture is not just for advanced learners. Even beginners can start with simple traditions, small talk, and common habits. Step by step, you will understand more and more.
Absolutely. And the best part is that learning culture also makes English more interesting. You see the language alive with jokes, habits, foods, sports, and holidays.
So, this is the end of our part 3. We hope you enjoyed learning about traditions and everyday culture. Don't forget to check our vocabulary PDF. It will help you practice all the words and expressions from today's podcast.
And if you like this podcast, please subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends, and continue learning English in a fun and easy way.
Bye for now, and see you in the next episode.